In 2018, a truck rolled down a hill. No engines, no powers, just gravity. That single video helped a company sell a dream and erase $34 billion when the truth came out. For a moment, Nikola was the hottest name in trucking. It promised zero-emission hydrogen semis. The Tesla of trucks. Investors bought the pitch hard. At its June 2020 peak, the company briefly hit a market value near $34 billion. Bigger than Ford. And here's the strange part. It had zero revenue and had delivered zero trucks. So how does a company worth more than Ford ship nothing? The answer is one decision that changed everything. And it starts with a hill. Start with the pitch. Between 2016 and 2020, founder Trevor Milton put on a show. He unveiled two trucks, the Nikola 1 and the Nikola 2. Big, gleaming hydrogen-electric semis. The promise was huge. These rigs would haul freight with no emissions, refuel in minutes instead of hours, and run hundreds of miles on a tank. Milton didn't just sell trucks. He sold a whole world to plug them into. A national network of hydrogen fueling stations built from scratch. Here's the clever move. To prove people wanted this, Nikola pointed to its order book. Billions of dollars in pre-orders and reservations, the company said. Proof the demand was real. Now a reservation is not a sale. It's often just a refundable deposit. A promise to maybe buy later. But stacked into a headline number, it looked like a stampede of customers. Then came the money moments. In June 2020, Nikola went public. Not the slow, traditional way. By merging with a company already listed on the stock market. A firm called Vecto IQ. That shortcut let Nikola skip the usual scrutiny of a normal listing and hit the market fast. And the stock took off. On paper, a company that had never sold a single truck was suddenly worth tens of billions. The dream was flying. But dreams need proof. And Nikola was about to offer some. Now the hills. Back in 2018, Nikola released a slick promo video titled Nikola 1 in Motion. On screen, the truck glides down an open road. Smooth and steady. Looking every bit like a working machine cruising under its own power. It was the money shot. Visual proof the technology was real. Here's what the video didn't show. That truck had no working powertrain. The powertrain is the guts that actually move a vehicle. The motor, the parts that turn stored energy into spinning wheels. The Nikola 1 in that video had none of it doing any work. So how did it move? Gravity. According to Hindenburg Research, which later dug into this, the truck was hauled to the top of a shallow hill and simply let go. It rolled. The camera was framed so the slope barely showed. A gentle downward grade that read as flat, level road on screen. Point the lens right, and a truck coasting downhill looks exactly like a truck driving forward. No engine sound needed. No wheels needed to be powered. Just a hill, a tow to the top, and a release. And Nikola, when confronted, didn't deny the core of it. The company later admitted the truck was not driving under its own propulsion. That the footage was staged. Read that plainly. The single most convincing piece of proof that Nikola's technology worked was a truck that couldn't move itself, filmed rolling down a slope. The whole $34 billion story had a hill at the center of it. And someone was about to point that out to the world. Enter the accuser. In September 2020, a short-selling research firm called Hindenburg Research published a report with a blunt headline. It called Nikola an intricate fraud. A short seller is an investor who profits when a stock falls. So they go hunting for companies they believe are overhyped. Hindenburg said it had found one. The report tore into the rolling truck video, laying out how the footage was staged. But it didn't stop there. It alleged a pattern. Claims about technology that Hindenburg said didn't actually exist yet. Dressed up as if it were finished and working. The timing could not have been worse for Nikola. Just days earlier, the company had announced a blockbuster partnership with General Motors. A deal that would have handed Nikola credibility, engineering muscle, and a share price boost. Then the report dropped. And as the scrutiny mounted, that GM deal began to come apart. What had looked like a coronation turned into a crisis in under 2 weeks. Investors who had bought a story suddenly faced a very different one. Confidence cracked. The stock, which had been riding pure momentum, started sliding. Hard. Here's the mechanism underneath it. Nikola's entire value rested on belief. There were no trucks generating cash, no fuel stations pumping hydrogen, nothing physical holding up the price. When belief is the only foundation, a single credible challenge can pull the floor out. And Hindenburg had just yanked it. The fall came fast. Within days of the Hindenburg report, in September 2020, Trevor Milton resigned as Nikola's chairman as investigations opened. But stepping down didn't close the book. It opened a new one. Two of the most serious agencies in American finance got involved. The Securities and Exchange Commission, the market's watchdog, and the Department of Justice, the federal prosecutor, both moved in. According to prosecutors, Milton was indicted for securities and wire fraud. The charge, in plain terms, being that he made false statements to investors to pump up the company's value. He denied wrongdoings. But in 2022, a jury convicted him on multiple fraud counts. He was later sentenced to 4 years in prison. Sit with the scale of what unwound here. At its peak, this was a company briefly valued near $34 billion. As the truth surfaced and the promises failed to become real trucks, the stock cratered, falling from its highs and wiping out tens of billions of dollars in value. Paper fortunes that felt solid one summer were largely gone. And here's the hard part for ordinary investors. Many of them bought in near the top, drawn by the same shiny video and the same big numbers. When a valuation is built on a story rather than on shipped products and real revenue, the people who get hurt worst are usually the ones who believed last. The ones holding when the belief finally breaks. So what's the real lesson here? A truck rolling down a hill became the perfect symbol for the whole thing. A sky-high valuation with no finished product underneath it. That's the answer to our opening question. The one decision that changed everything. Nikola chose to show a truck in motion before it could actually build one that moved. That staged image bought belief. And belief is what pushed the price near $34 billion. But belief isn't a product. The moment reality was exposed, no working powertrain, no fuel network, no delivered trucks, that $34 billion in paper value evaporated because there was nothing physical to hold it up. This is bigger than one company. It's a story about a specific era. Around 2020, those fast-track stock listings made it easy for companies to go public on a pitch and a promise, before they had much to show. In that environment, fake it till you make it. A mindset that can work in a garage startup. Collided with securities law, where telling investors something is real when it isn't ambition. It's fraud. The engineering of a hydrogen truck is genuinely hard. But the thing that actually broke Nikola wasn't the physics of hydrogen. It was gravity. And a story that couldn't survive contact with the truth. So how do you spot the next one before it rolls downhill? A few portable rules. First, separate the demo from the product. Ask a simple question of any big claim. Is this thing actually doing the work, or is something off-screen doing it for it? A truck that rolls is not a truck that drives. Second, treat reservations and hype numbers as intentions, not income. A refundable deposit is a maybe, not a sale. And a company with a huge order book but zero deliveries has proven demand for a story, not for a product. Third, when a valuation is built entirely on the future, ask what's real today. Real revenue and shipped products are hard to fake. A compelling narrative is not. The whole thing comes down to one image. A truck rolled downhill and a $34 billion story unraveled behind it. If you like watching big collapses taken apart layer by layer, the decision, the reveal, the fall. We've got a full shelf of corporate meltdowns broken down the same way. Pick the next one on screen and let's open that box together.